welcome back to the YouTube channel of JJ Prime Reviews. And in today's review, we're going to take a look at the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Constructicon BONECRUSHER. Yes! New Constructicons in the Studio Series 86 subline. I am so freaking happy about this. So let us continue on with this full review here, and we shall see if he is truly worth having in the collection. So let's go! Now, of course, before we take a look at the figure itself, it's always nice to take a quick look at the packaging here. And it's a very nice packaging artwork here for BONECRUSHER's Robot Mode and Construction Vehicle Mode. I do quite like that. Autobot symbol on the side. For some reason, he's not an Autobot. He's a Decepticon. Really, Hasbro? Really? His name is Constructicon BONECRUSHER. He's from the Transformers, the movie, Studio Series, 16 steps of transformation, and he is 2 of 6 of Devastator, which is weird because on the other, I believe on the other boxes for the Studio Series 86 Constructicons, though they will say out of 5. Not 6. But for BONECRUSHER, 2 out of 6. I know there are 6 Constructicons, okay? I know there are 6 Constructicons, but that's confusing because I don't have him yet, but I did see a review for 86 Scrapper, and I saw his box that his box says 1 out of 5, not 1 out of 6. Don't know why. Anyway, we have a nice image here of Devastator himself, Studio Series Transformers the movie, and we have the obligatory product shots, and I love the screen capture from the movie itself. And you do have a brief bio for him. BONECRUSHER battles the Autobots in Autobot City on Earth, and I just noticed this now. His name, BONECRUSHER? No E? Wait, what up with that? What up with that? What is this? What is this? His name is BONECRUSHER. It's supposed to be an E there, but there's no E for the English version of the bio. Really? Yeah, whatever. But that is pretty much it there for the packaging. And here we have 86 BONECRUSHER fully transformed into his construction vehicle mode, and it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good for the most part because I do have a little QC issue on my copy of the toy, which it shouldn't happen, but it did happen, and yeah, yeah. we'll talk about that QC problem when we get down to robot mode, but for the most part, it looks pretty good. It looks very accurate to how it looked in the cartoon. And in the movie, I don't think he transformed in the movie. No, he only transformed into the combined mode, and that's it. but as far as the cartoon goes, yeah, it's very cartoon accurate as far as I'm concerned. You do have little bits of silver on the treads here, which is quite nice. And you got the Decepticon symbol on the bucket, and a little bit of a dark purplish paint on the front, and that is pretty much it for paint. Because here's the thing about BONECRUSHER from G1. He didn't have a lot of color on him to begin with, so I can't really say that he's lacking paint because he's not supposed to have a lot of paint on him. so in this case, I can't really complain about the lack of paint because it's accurate. It's accurate. So, but all in all, it's a nice solid vehicle here. I do quite dig how it looks, and yeah, very clean. Very clean. No wheels on the treads, unfortunately, but it is what it is. It's okay. I don't care about wheels on treads. He still looks pretty good in my personal opinion. So now he does include one accessory, only one. He includes a little pistol right here. So yeah, a little tiny gun, very evocative of what it looked like in the cartoon. I believe it's the cartoon gun. I don't know. You can actually store this in the vehicle mode. There's a port right here, and you can just store it on top here for storage if you really want to store it. So yeah, so that is basically it for weapon storage, and yeah, it's a simple vehicle mode and looks pretty good. Now you can actually move the bucket up if you really want to. That's a thing. That's a thing you can do, or you can untab this and do whatever you want with these hinges and all that stuff. You know, move them however you want, but it's supposed to stay tabbed in like that. Now, I did mention that I will go over the QC problem once we get into robot mode, but actually we can discuss it now, because as you can see here, on the one side everything works as it should, but this other side it doesn't work as it should. This tab is supposed to go into that little groove right in there, that little tiny that notch there. It's supposed to go in there, but it can't. It cannot, because this side here, the plastic, is all warped out, and that is not good. That is unfortunate. That is a very poor quality there from Hasbro, and yeah, but at least he can still transform. I did a little bit of a mod there to get him transformed perfectly, and I'll talk about that mod that I did in a little bit. And yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate that mine has a QC problem there, but you know, it doesn't really affect anything. It doesn't really affect the combine mode, because the combine mode is gonna be like this all the time, so not gonna affect the combine mode at all, but still something worth noting. So yeah, so if you get a copy with that, then yeah, it's gonna be unfortunate, but I hope you get yours. If you get yours with a perfect quality for this site here, good for you, congrats. It's just I was unlucky with my copy. But anyway, let's bring in some size comparisons. Just because here is 86 BONECRUSHER compared with his movie counterpart, the Studio Series Baver's BONECRUSHER. Yeah, both BONECRUSHERs are going for different aesthetics. One is a constructicon, one is a constructicon, and the other is a buffalo vehicle. So totally different. Totally different. But anyway, let's move on. And last but not least, here we have 86 BONECRUSHER compared with the Combiner Wars BONECRUSHER. So you can see how the two BONECRUSHERs look together. I mean, yeah, sure, this guy has wheels, but you know, aesthetically, I kind of like this one better. It just looks more like how he looked in the cartoon, while this one is more like a kind of stylized BONECRUSHER here. Whereas this one is more towards cartoon accuracy, which I do quite like. So yeah, and I do quite like the bits of silver paint on the treads, whereas this guy doesn't have anything. So yeah, but which one do you like better? You know, do you like this one better just for the size of it, or do you like this one better for cartoon accuracy? You know, your personal opinion, your personal preference. Everyone is entitled to theirs, and that's okay. So yeah, but me personally, I'm definitely going all in for this version of BONECRUSHER, because I like the quality build on this way better. I mean, I feel like the treads here a little bit too wide, sitting a little bit too wide there. This one I think looks more comfortable, looks more cohesive and everything. So yeah, to me, this looks way better in my personal opinion. But that's just me, that's my personal opinion, my personal preference, to each their own. So that is pretty much it there for the Ultimate Mode comparisons. So yeah, that is pretty much it for the vehicle mode. It looks pretty good, except for this bit here. But let us transform BONECRUSHER into his robot mode. Now, I can't really transform him into his combined mode because I was never given instructions for the combined mode, so we will save the combined mode transformation for a later date. Or maybe we'll save it until we get every constructicon that we have for Devastator. So, and I only have one. So 5 more to go. But anyway, let us get started. So the transformation on this guy is fairly simple. So what you want to do first, you want to untab the treads here. Just untab that and just untab the treads and then bring them down like so. Just bring them down like so. And you want to take the feet and just open them up. Open the feet, rip out the feet, and there we have his legs pretty much all done. Hey, look! Grr, construction vehicle. I don't know. So anyway, so this section here, you want to bring this out like so that you have your clearance to bring this up. And also you want to untab the bucket and just bring this down a little bit. and just bring this up all the way. And then you want to take this section here and just bring this down all the way, and you can see this pushes the arms up, so you can actually take the arms and just split it and just rotate them out like so, rotate them out like so, and then bring out this piece right here, and then flip out his head just like so, and then flip this back in, tap that in, and then bring this crotch section down, and there we go. We're nearly there. We're at the home stretch. I need to zoom out so you can see what I am doing here. So now this piece right here, you want to bring this down all the way, just like so, and then this piece will come down all the way like that. And now you can take the bucket section here. There's a tab that would go into a slot right in there, so just tap this in just like so, and then bring this up all the way, and there you have his chest all done. So now for the arms, you want to rotate them around like so, and then you want to bring this arm down and then rotate it around. As you can see here, there was supposed to be a tab right there, but I cut it off because it couldn't tab in to this slot right in there due to the QC issue that mine has. So yeah, I had to cut that tab off. I had no choice, okay? But anyway, there is one arm all done, so do the same thing on the other side. Just rotate this down and untab that. Supposed to do that on the other side, but you know, QC problems happen. But anyway, just bring down the arm and just rotate it around, and that is pretty much it for the transformation. It's easy, very simple. So there you go. There is 86 BONECRUSHER fully transformed into his robot mode, and he is an okay looking G1y BONECRUSHER. I do quite like the robot mode. I mean, he's a chunky dude, but that's fine, you know. I like chunky BONECRUSHERs. Now I'm gonna do something that I don't think I've done here, because this one doesn't really look like the I mean, it kind of does look like the G1 animation model, but it actually more accurate to the Devastation game model here. So if we can actually compare two of the models here for G1 BONECRUSHER, both from the G1 animation and the Devastation game model. And as you can see here, the G1 model is more slim, more streamlined, but the game model is more bulky. And I think this one here is more towards the Devastation game model, in my personal opinion. That's how I see it anyway. But yeah, but that's just me. That's just my personal thing with this guy. But all in all, though, he's a solid dude, and I do quite like it. So let's get in close here so we can take a look at his head sculpt. And it's a very nice BONECRUSHER-y head sculpt. I love the sword paint on the face, nice red paint on the visor, and nice paint on the chest as well, red purples, and the Decepticon symbol on his chest, a little bit of purple paint on the fist, and I do quite like that. And that's pretty much it for paint, because he never really had any other color on him, just a lot of green and a little bit of color here and there, but that's it. You know, he's not really lacking paint because it's accurate. It's literally accurate. So yeah, you can't really complain, but oh well. But I'm pretty sure people will nitpick this to death, but that's fine. You know, it's gonna happen regardless. But anyway, so let's talk about the articulation, shall we? So now for the head movement, you do have a full rotation there. You can look up a bit, can really look down. Shoulders can rotate a full 360, can move in and out. You could use this joint if you really want to break his arms. You do have a ball joint at the elbow, so you can rotate a full 360. You have an elbow bend, about 90 degrees of bend there. Now he does technically have a waist swivel, but you do have to untap the chest in order for that to happen. So there you have your waist rotation. But actually, you know what? This joint is actually more useful for the combined mode rather than in robot mode. That's why he doesn't really have a waist joint in robot mode. But of course, you can use that if you really want to. You do have leg movement here. Legs can move up that far, can move back that far. You do have full splits there. You do have a thigh rotation. You do have a knee joint. You do have to unclip that knee joint to use the knees, but you do have slightly over 90 degrees of bend there. And of course you do have foot movement, toe movement there, and then the heel spurs can move down if you really want to. And of course you do have lots of ankle tiltage right there, so that's quite nice that he has ankle tilts. Hooray for ankle tilts. So there you go. Now you can have BONECRUSHER wield his weapon, so you do take his gun and just put it into his hand, and he can shoot down some Autobots if he really wants to. Or you can actually take the gun and store it into that port right there on the back if you really want to. And also, if you get this figure here, this is packed separately. It just slides over to that T tab right there, and yeah, that's just something to note if you get this figure for your collection. So, but yeah, BONECRUSHER. I think he has a charm to him. I don't know. I don't know. He's some sort of a charm here, and I quite like it. Yeah, he's pretty neat for what he is, and I dig it. So, but there we go. So let us bring in some size comparisons. Here is 86 BONECRUSHER compared with Movieverse BONECRUSHER from Studio Series, and this is a good example of me not caring about size for my figures, because this guy is a Deluxe and this guy is a Voyager, but this guy is taller than him. But this guy does have the overall whiteness, and you know, yeah, just the whiteness of, you know, he has a lot more width to him, you know, whereas this guy just has more height to him, and you know, yeah. But yeah, this is yeah. But all in all, though, I mean, we have two different BONECRUSHERs. They're two differently designed BONECRUSHERs, and yeah. So, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, we have both the movie version and the G1 version. So yay! But there we go. Let's move on. And last but not least, here we have 86 BONECRUSHER compared with the Combiner Wars BONECRUSHER, and yeah, as far as I'm concerned, this one looks way better in my personal opinion. I mean, nothing against this one. I do quite like the throw paint that he has on his forearms and on his chest, but this guy has a very problematic crotch, and I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. That's just, ugh, I don't like the crotch here. The crotch is a very major problem with this figure. At least this one doesn't have a major problem with the crotch, so yeah, because everything tabs it nice and solid like, and I like that better. I like when my figures are more solid here. I don't want to have figures that, you know, have QC issues, like having a crotch problem and everything. So, but yeah, all in all, I definitely prefer this one over this one. So that's just me. That's my personal opinion. So there you go. That's pretty much it there for the robot mode comparisons, and we can move on to our final thoughts. Okay, so here are my final thoughts on the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Constructicon BONECRUSHER, and it's a decent figure. He is a fine figure for what it is. You know, it's not terribly bad. You know, the robot mode looks pretty decent. It looks, you know, pretty G1 accurate, you know, even though the body build is not really slim as like the G1 animation model, but it still looks pretty decent for what it is. The vehicle mode looks pretty good. I do quite like the vehicle mode. I think it looks very, very good. My only real complaint about this figure is the QC issue with the left forearm, how the plastic is just warped out, and that's a bit unfortunate for my copy, but hey, it's a case of your mileage may vary, so it depends on what copy you get. You may get a copy that is perfect, or you may get a copy that's not so perfect, like mine. But anyway, Articulation is pretty decent, so he has some good articulation here and there. The transformation is smooth, it's enjoyable, so I like messing with this guy. So yeah, definitely a fun figure to mess with. So yeah, we are 1 down, 5 to go from completing Devastator. Yeah, I'm very excited to complete this brand new 86 Devastator, and yeah, very cool. Very nice to have a brand new set of Constructicons in my collection, and I can't wait to collect them all. So that is pretty much it there for today's video review. So ladies, oh no, whoa. Before I do that, I like to rank this guy from a scale of 1 to 10 first. So if I were to rank this guy from a scale of 1 to 10, I think I should give him a solid 8 out of 10. I think that's pretty decent for pretty fair for him. 8 out of 10, you know, just wish that the plastic was not warped for the left arm, but other than that, that's just my only issue with the figure, and he's all solid. He's a solid bot, fun dude, and very happy to have him in my collection. So, alright, so I think that's it. Yeah, that is it. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have enjoyed this video review, be sure to click that like button down below. Give it a 2 thumbs up or thumbs up, you know. And of course, if you are brand new to the channel, be sure to click that subscribe button down below. And while you're at it, click that notification bell icon down below as well, so that you will never miss any of my future videos. And you can always check out my Studio Series Reviews playlist for any videos I may have missed. So I will post a link to that playlist in the description down below. And I think that's pretty much it for me to say. So there you have the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Constructicon BONECRUSHER. And this is JJ Prime signing off. Peace out till all are one, and I'll see you guys next time. Prepare for extermination!
Greetings, Transformers fans. My name is Alita1. I would like to thank you for watching JJ Prime Reviews. If you would like to see more reviews, live unboxings, or even tutorials on the channel, hit the subscribe button and smash that bell icon to get notified when a new video is uploaded on the channel. Thank you, and see you next time. Till all are one.